What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
Woo! My name is Michael Keating. This is our first step-by-step podcast. Just a little bit about myself. Michael Keating, like I said before, I founded Step by Step with my brother. And basically what the foundation is about, if you guys don't already know, we collect bottles and cans, and we use that money in order to give back to the community any way we can. We've done multiple stuff with departments of children's and families in Waterbury, helping out the public schools, helping out elderly homes that we do projects for. We just came from one. I'm doing a New Year's party, and it truly has changed my life. And I really feel like giving back and serving to people is what God has been calling me to do for a long time. And, I'm just really, really grateful to be here. And my right hand, or left hand, Max, Pape, he's been with me through this entire time, and he's really been such a supportive friend. And likewise, I can't say enough great things about him. And without him, I wouldn't be here. So it wouldn't be right to have a podcast without Max Pape, because like every single conversation I have with this kid, I just feel like God is like speaking to me through him. So
I appreciate that, man.
That's why we want to do this and give back to you guys. So I'll throw it over to Max, and he can tell about himself, and he can talk more about why we want to do this. So yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? So yeah, as Mike said, my name is Max. Mike's a great friend of mine, but best friend right here.
No,
best friend right here. And yeah, we've had conversations before. We find it kind of like ironic that we met, and we had this relationship because we feel that we're very unique from the people around us in terms of our faith. It's something that's kind of gone away, especially at least in the areas that we grew up in. And we find as if that's the difference between how we respond to adversity versus our peers. And that's one of the main reasons why we wanted to have these podcasts. We've had conversations before, and we're like, dude, this would be great. Let's share it to people. Let's invite them to walk with Christ, because we truly believe that is the answer. Even the whole motive behind step by step and giving back, like we typically we don't see people our age doing that, and we feel as if it would have been a disservice if we kept that to ourselves. So we want to do God's will. We want to speak to you guys, share to you, how we live our lives and how we respond to difficulties, and just try to serve you guys. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. That was great. Step by step, when we found it, my brother started giving food back to the local food shelter, and basically he just saw the big impact that it had on them. Just giving food to a local food shelter, something that a lot of people would say is just small. Mm-hmm. It's just something small to do, giving a couple cans here and there, and he saw how big of an impact it had on them. And when I came back, I was like, if that could have as big of an impact, what if we really try to make an impact? Like if we really said, let's really roll with this and do something big with this. And that's why it's called step by step, because everyone thinks they need to do something big to make a difference. I need to give this amount of money to this organization in order to make a difference. Really, it's just something small, step by step, just doing something small every day. Paying for that person behind you that might be short some money, that's just doing a small step. Holding a door for an elderly person, that's a small step. If everyone just takes step by step, that's going to help change the world. And that's why we want to help do this. Sorry if I'm like stuffed up, but, that's why I want to do this podcast. It's just really, God has really taught us a lot of lessons throughout our life. And it's really, really impacted me in a lot of ways. And same with Max.
100%.
We've been through a lot and throughout our lives. And the lessons that God has taught us, I feel like if my peers, if they really heard those lessons, it would change their lives too.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that's why we want to do this. And I just feel like God has really spoken to us to give back. And that's what we want to do.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and also we feel that people may see us on Instagram, seeing us out and about, and saying, "Oh, look at these guys! They're so happy. They have it all. They have it all together."
Yeah.
But that's not the reality of the situation. Even Christians, they get the stereotypes that they're the perfect human beings, and that's the farthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
And Greg Rochelle, a pastor that Mike and I were big fans of, he says that we connect through our weaknesses. And that's also the purpose behind these podcasts. We wanted to share with you guys that, being a Christian, walking with Christ, adversity hits. It's no different than the secular world around us. but it's our faith in God that helps us get through, and it gives us so much hope, and it's such a beautiful thing. And we just want to share it with you guys because, nowadays with, the epidemics of anxiety, especially Mike and I were college students, and the peers around us, the stress, the technology, the busyness, it's so easy to get caught up. But living a reflective life and walking with Christ, we've found it just beyond what we could, ever expect to change our lives. It's truly transformed us. So we just want to share it with you and just, try to inspire you guys to have a relationship with God, because he's changed our lives.
Absolutely.
And he will continue to do so.
Absolutely. And I love what he said about Craig Rochelle, we connect through our weaknesses.
Yeah.
And that's what our first video that we posted called Forever, a song that I made for my dad. If you guys haven't, go check that out. Go check it out. Get on this. Go check it out. Come back. And because we want to talk a little bit about that song. And basically, we're going to try to just give out lessons that we've learned throughout our lives to you guys. And hopefully, someone that's watching this that's gone through what we're talking about, help you get through this, because there is a way to get through it. And really, God has really helped me get through it. So I'm just going to go right into it and talk about the song. Basically, it's a relationship, if you guys didn't figure out by watching the song, relationship between me and my dad. And I'll give you a little bit of backstory about it. So when I was younger, me and my dad were best friends. Like, we did everything together. Like, we went to baseball games together, like, every weekend. It was like a thing. Like, I would wait for him every single day to get home just to go outside and play. Like, that was our thing. I loved our relationship so much. And, then it just changed overnight when he got sick. And it was like this, I can't even explain it. If you haven't gone through it, it's hard to tell someone about it. When you have a relationship with someone and then all of a sudden, due to something out of your control, it changes. You don't know how to react to it. And basically, he went in and he had a tumor wrapped around his optic nerve, and he had to have some brain surgeries to try to get that removed. Unfortunately, there's still some left, but they tried to get some of it out. But due to the surgeries, he lost complete eyesight in his right eye, like 70% in his left eye. And it didn't just impact me or my dad, it impacted a lot of people around us. And you could see that, like, when stuff happens, everyone's like, oh my gosh, like everyone was reaching out to my dad, and people were reaching out to us too. And they really, really cared. And it was just so tough, because the relationship that me and my dad had was so different after the surgery, because he wasn't able to do the things that he always used to do with me. And for the longest time, that affected our bond so much. And I was really upset at God for taking away that from me. And for the longest time, I was just like, God, he was the perfect person, went to church every week, did all these things for you, and you're going to take his eyesight away? Let these other people, who don't go to church and don't really believe in God, everything's going right with them. Mm-hmm. And I was just so mad for the longest time. And then I just got to a point in my life where I was just so grateful for the relationship me and my dad had. And what I mean by that is, like, I woke up one morning and I just saw him, like, sitting there. And I was just like, what would I do if he wasn't here? I was, a lot of times when we lose things, we're so focused on what we lost that we forget about what we still have. Mm-hmm. And, like, that was the relationship with my dad, was like, I was so focused on him not being able to do the things that he once did that I lost sight of him still being here for me and him wanting to be a part of my life. And I talked to my dad a lot about it. And it was definitely because before he had a lot of brain surgeries, he wasn't really able to, like, have conversations. Like, his brain was all, like, messed up, and he wasn't really able to have that, like, one-on-one conversation where he'd really understand what I was saying. Mm-hmm. Like, I was talking to him, but he really couldn't understand it. And so I sat down, and what I've noticed with him is his relationship with God has, like, skyrocketed ever since the surgery. And I asked my dad, I was like, why is your faith so much stronger now after you went through all that versus what it was before when everything was going great? And he told me that he started relying on God a lot more for things. Yeah. And he started leaning back, because when we have things that are so perfect, we feel like we don't need God for anything. Like, I'm the star of the team. I got the great grades. I got the great life. I don't need God. Like everything's great. And then when a roadblock hits, we're the first one to blame him for why is this happening, God? Why? But we weren't thanking him when everything was great, but now we're blaming him and everything goes wrong. And he was just like, it got a whole different perspective, because when things happen in your life, you have a decision where you could use that pain and turn it into something great. And God gives us that opportunity when something happens that isn't in our agenda, that we don't know it's coming. We could use that, that's our decision now. Like, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control after the aftermath. And if it wasn't for my dad's surgery, I would not be half the man I am today, because it taught me so much. And for people out there that are going through something, it doesn't even have to be like a brain surgery. It could be cancer. It could be maybe you lost someone due to an illness. It could be anything. But you have a decision whether you can use that and just let it eat you inside and really let it affect you, or you could use that and turn it into something that people are going to remember and that you can leave long after you die. And, I truly believe that, when we die, all those memories, everything that they left behind is going to affect all those people. And my dad is just such a strong man, and I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's why I wanted to do the song, basically to the point, and then I'll hand it over to Max, because I know he has some good insight on it. But like, instead of getting mad at God for what he's taken away, still be appreciative of what you still have, because you still have a lot. And God will never take away something that you need to be successful. He will never take away something in your life that you still need to do his plan for your life. Everything you have in your life right now is everything you need for you to succeed, because God will give you everything you need. And I'm just really appreciative of it. And I hope you guys that listen to the song got that same message too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, when I listened to it, it really spoke to me. I could really resonate with the message, even though my situation it's quite different. And, as Mike said, his dad, had all these brain surgeries, and he was a different person after that. And his relationship just wasn't the same. And he was mad at God for the longest reason because of that. And I could relate to that because, my oldest brother, the disease he had was addiction. He was a heroin addict, and, he still struggles with it to this day. He's in and out of rehab. And I was mad at God myself. My faith was tested during those times, and it's easy, as Mike said, to blame God for everything that he's done, rather than accepting what he's doing and realizing that he's working all things for the good. And that includes difficulty, adversity, suffering, tragedy. He uses the bad, he uses the evil, and he turns it into something good. And that's what he has done with my brother. Mike and I both, we don't drink, we don't do any drugs. Not saying that drinking or doing drugs is bad, but if I'm gonna blame my brother for all the harm that he's done in my life, I also got to blame him for all the good. And that good has been keep me on a straight path, showing me what it's like, what the opposite path is that he went down, that I could have very well went down. But luckily, the grace of God has saved me. He's kept me on a straight, narrow path. He showed me what it's like through my brother. Not that he wanted to harm my brother in any way, but he taught me. He used the bad. He orchestrated the evil, and he allowed it to teach me how to follow him and walk in his ways. So
wow, yeah, that was deep. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
and I feel like us sharing this isn't easy for us, to share with the world just like all of our problems. But I feel like a lot of times people are afraid to share their stories, or afraid to share what they've gone through, because they're afraid of what people might think about them, or what they might seem to the world if they just share this crazy stuff. And we just want to be vulnerable, because
exactly, vulnerable.
When God gives you something, gives you a plan, and works that out for you, I feel like sharing that with the world and giving him praise, because I feel like all the things that God has done in my life, I love how you said, like, we would do people a disservice if we weren't telling people what God was doing. Because I feel like God doesn't just want to change my life, he wants to change everyone else's. And I just feel like this podcast, we have a lot more to share, but just this first video, just as one lesson that we have, we just want to keep sharing with you guys what God is telling us,
100%.
And it's not going to be, it's going to be stuff you could use in your everyday life. This isn't like stuff that only this particular person can use in their life. Like, this is something that you can use every day for the rest of your life. And I feel like, when you really let God in and when you really just say, God, I need your help, a lot of times, I didn't really want to ask God for help because I felt like he had a lot more crazy things to worry about than just my situation. Like, there's so many people in the world and he controls the whole world. Like, how can little old me, like, going through a situation, him really help me? But it says, and everything through prayer and repetition, through thanksgiving, present your request to God, and he will give you peace.
Yeah.
And he's really given me peace with a lot of situations, because if God hears every one of your prayers, whether you might not think it or not. But I love what he said. He's working all things for good. And I hope this podcast, as we continue on with it, really speaks to people out there, whatever situation they're going through. And even in the comment section below, if or like DM us through Step by Step. We have an Instagram or a Facebook page where it shows all the great things that we're doing, because we don't just want to talk about it, we want to walk about it. Like, we're not just up here just saying to do this and do that and do this, and we're not saying if you did those things you're bad. Like, I've made so many mistakes in my life, it's not even funny, guys. Like, I've made probably more mistakes than a lot of people that I know. But I use that pain and turn it into something great. And I use those lessons that God has given me to improve. And just wherever you are at right now is not where you're going to finish. I was reading this great message that my priest was giving me at Cornerstone Church. Shout out to Cornerstone Church, if you guys are listening. But Jesus was born into poverty. And he was born in a manger from Mary. And wherever you start does not determine where you're going to go in life. Wherever you are in life, whether you're on top of the world right now, whether maybe you're having a tough situation, even if people don't know about it, just know that wherever you are does not determine where God's going to take you in life.
God meets you where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter where you are, where you've been, he meets you where you are.
Exactly. And working all things for the good. And, DM us through Instagram or Facebook. Go check out what we're doing. We're serving in the community. If you guys want to help out, we'd love to have you. Even if you're donating some bottles and cans, everything small makes a difference. If you want to DM us, if you want to us talk about a certain issue that we have questions
comment
about.
Comment below any topics or issues you'd like us to discuss.
Even if you're like just questioning, like, oh, like what does God really think about this situation? Or like, I'm going through this, like, what should I do? Or maybe there's like a certain situation where you want to be good, like you want to follow God, but you don't really know like how, or what's the first step? What are people going to think? And we're here to just answer all the questions that you guys might have. So
definitely,
I'll shoot over to Max here.
Absolutely, no, 100%. And God could be a very foreign topic for some people too. Like, where do I even begin to have a relationship with God? Yeah. And I really think it's in the name of the organization that Mike is starting, step by step, taking it one step at a time, starting a daily ritual that takes no longer than 10 minutes a day. Just starting small, no matter where it is. Remember, God meets you where you are. No matter where you are, where you've been, he loves you. He wants to have a relationship with you. And just invite him into your life step by step. And over time, your relationship's going to grow. Just like with any friendship, it takes time, takes commitment. And that's how God works. He wants to have an intimate relationship with you, and he wants to change your life. And we hope that, he speaks through us to help you guys follow him and really know who he is, because he's so lovingful. He's so incredible. He's transformed our lives. He continues to do so. And I know he's going to for you. So
I just want to say one thing before you wrap up, because I think this needs to be said. We did a whole video on our phone for like 14 minutes, right? And we thought it was great. And I couldn't get this thing on my computer. Like, we tried for like 2 hours. Like, we did everything. And we finally got it on the computer. And then it said it wasn't there. And it was just this fiasco. And Max was just like, let's just do it on we had it on the phone, try to get let's just do it on the computer. And so we did it on the computer. And there was a lot of things that we said here that we did say in the last one. And, God works in crazy ways. Let me tell you. Because, like, there might be some things out there that you don't understand why it's happening, but let me tell you, God is in control and he knows exactly what he's doing. Do not rely on your own understanding. Like, it's not going to make sense. Like, what he's asking you to do, like, it's not going to make sense. Why the thing will go on your phone or the computer is not going to make sense.
Yeah, 100%.
But seek him in all you do.
Yeah.
And he's going to direct the path for you. And I feel like there's someone out there that needed to hear what was in this message instead of the other message. And God just like, let me just flip a switch and do it like this.
No, 100%.
And, you know, I truly do believe that, you know, God is speaking through us to speak to you guys.
Yes.
And, you know, this is podcast 1, but we really appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yes, definitely. It's just going off that point real quick.
Go.
That's a whole video we could have by itself. You know, we had our death grip on the way we thought things should have gone with this podcast, and that was with the first podcast. we had a death grip on it. It should go this way. We were following our plan. But when we surrender and we let go of that death grip that we have and we're surrendered over to God and we follow his path, he will exceed our expectations. We may have certain expectations, but he wants us to follow his plan because he will exceed those expectations.
Yeah. If God met all your expectations, he would never have the chance to exceed them.
100%.
If you have in a certain situation like, oh, this video is great, like it cannot go beyond this. God's just like, I'm going to exceed that. I'm going to exceed everything that you think is here. I'm going to bring it up here.
Mm-hmm.
And we truly believe that what he was doing. So, you know,
Amen.
Got anything more to say before we wrap this up, Max?
Yeah, God is good. God is good.
All the
hope
time,
you guys follow him. You listen to these podcasts, you enjoy these videos, and you comment, and just, you know, we try to connect with you guys, you know. So
yeah,
hope this was beneficial to you.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, step by step. Get involved wherever you are. If you guys want to keep listening, please subscribe below, leave a comment, you know, tell your friends, you know, share if you feel like they're going through a certain situation, they need to hear a certain podcast, just let them know. You know, all you have to do is get them here, and then God's going to do the rest of the work. Amen. You know, we're just here, you know, doing what God has told us to do. You know, we're just speaking through him, but God's got to do the work now. You know, he's just like, just get to the certain point and then I'll work the rest. So, and I feel like what we're doing before I wrap up, because I know this long, we say we brought to wrap up for like 6 minutes. But like, you know, we feel like a lot of young people like us really aren't really turning to God for their problems. They're turning to relationships. They're turning to drugs. They're turning to alcohol. They're turning to all these other things besides God. And we have turned to God and we've seen a huge difference. And we feel like, you know, people our age, you know, if they just took that one baby step, that mustard seed of faith into God, God's going to do the rest. So we can't wait to see what we got in store. But my name is Michael Keating.
I'm Max Pape.
And this is our first podcast.
God bless you guys.
Amen.